What's up, everybody? Matt Kajeski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel, continuing our new college basketball betting series. Today, we're talking games Friday, January the 19th. As you guys know, if you've been watching these for any length of time last year, years prior, Fridays are our greasy night. A couple marquee games, a lot of mid-majors. We'll talk about everything you need to know before we get started. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. And we have a deal that just cannot be passed up. BetMGM, they're providing a deal for new users in all legal states except New York, Puerto Rico, and Nevada. You can make your first deposit by clicking the link in the video description below. Make a deposit of $5 and then place a $5 wager on any market. And if that bet wins or loses, you're going to get $158 in the form of bonus bets. Yes, it is that easy. The legal age for most states is 21 plus for legal gambling. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's dive in. So I've been reading the comments voraciously, trying to make updates based on what you guys want. A couple people have requested a graphic that will include the pick that is on the way. Do not have it yet today, but it will come. Otherwise, yeah, it seems like a lot of you guys are just grinders and you want the games that have good equity. So not as many people wanted the big games to be talked about, but if you do, please leave a comment. Right now, we're going to kind of mix and match until things get ironed out a little bit, but I got two greasy games with picks that I like, and then we'll talk about one of the bigger games, Wisconsin, Indiana, at the end. But leave that feedback. We'll be taking a look and trying to cater these videos to you. So without further ado, let us dive in. We're going to kick things off in the MAC. We have Akron taking on Kent State. I think Akron's the best team in this conference, just straight up. And this has been bouncing all over the place. They've been everywhere from -1 to +1, and I'm still seeing that available. So obviously, go to Odd Shopper, find that +1 if you can. But honestly, I'm comfortable with the -1. I took this at +1 myself. But through 0, -1, I don't really see why Akron would be an underdog other than they're on the road. But basically, everything in this matchup points to Akron being the best team. If you go to evanmedia.com, you can go and look at the player rankings for this team. They have the best player in the conference. That's Enrique Freeman. He plays on the inside. That's going to be a huge mismatch for this team. And Kent State only has one player in the top 10 that is even in these rankings. So right away, that stands out. You just have the better players on the Akron side. And from there, you look at this team, they're 5-0 in conference. They've won on the road, too. They already have 5 wins away from home. Kent State, they're 2-3 in conference play. And I think there's a lot of issues with this schedule. And not to mention, Akron has 4 losses. Those are all against top 100 opponents. The strength of schedule for this team overall isn't great, 206th. But they play in the MAC. I mean, none of those teams are fantastic. Having a decent non-con with your 4 losses coming against top 100 opponents is pretty good. And they still have a strength of schedule edge over Kent State. It's 206 to 245th. But anyway, diving into the stylistics here, Akron, I think, is the better team just across the board. They're 138th in offensive efficiency. That goes all the way to 42nd in effective field goal percentage. This team can really shoot. And they have a pretty good mismatch inside with Enrique Freeman. That, again, the player in the conference is probably going to win Player of the Year in this conference. But anyway, they're 25th in interior offense. So you see the overall offensive efficiency, the effective field goal percentage, 25th in interior offense, and they're 102nd in rebounding. That's while ranking 241st in height. They're not the biggest team, but they're rebounding, and a lot of it comes through Freeman himself. And just to contrast some of these stats, Kent State 196th in defensive efficiency. They're 163rd on the interior, and they're 165th in rebounding. So you have every single edge on the interior pointing Akron's direction. And then this team actually can shoot a little bit. You have Greg Tribble and Sammy Hunter shooting over 40% from 3 for Akron. Meanwhile, on the Kent State side, and I said they only had one top 10 player in the MAC. It's actually one top 20 player. That's Chris Payton. Offense 150th. Akron's defense is better. They're 134th. This team is 128th in effective field goal percentage. And they honestly live and die by the 3. They have 2 players in Jalen Sullinger and Von Cameron Davis that shoot over 40% from 3. But the strength of Akron's defense is their guard play. They defend the 3 very well. So even though they're on the road, again, they've won 5 times away from their home building already this year. I'm surprised this is even close to a pick 'em. I think Akron's just the straight up better team here and probably the team that wins this conference. let us go to our second pick. Yeah, we're getting really greasy here. Wagner takes on Merrimack. This is hovering in 5.5, 6 points, somewhere in that range in favor of Merrimack, who is the team I like here. If you're looking at some of these graphics on the screen, you see there is just one very good metric for both teams. It's Merrimack's defense. Basically, everything else sucks. This is a deep cut mid-major matchup. So when you look at this, first and foremost, injuries probably play a role here. We're talking some really low-level competition, but Wagner's been without Zaire Williams and Ramir Moore. Moore's only played 3 games this year. He was averaging 30 minutes in that span. And Williams is their second leading scorer, and he averaged 25 minutes per game. Both have been away from the team. They're down 2 of their top players, and Wagner's 354th in effective field goal percentage, and they've played one of the weakest strength of schedules in the country at 351st. There's only 362 teams. So you can see how bad this team has actually been, and with their easy schedule. Now, they have started 2-1 in conference. They play in the Northeast Conference, so that's at least worth noting here. But 351st most difficult strength of schedule, and to be outside the top 350 in effective field goal percentage is egregiously bad. Merrimack, on the other hand, has played the 212th most difficult strength of schedule. This team, they're at full strength, and they have the 2 most efficient players in the entire conference. Again, evanmedia.com, you can go and look at the Northeast Conference. The top 2 most efficient players are Jacob O'Connell and Jordan Derkak. They're both on Merrimack. This Warriors team, 232nd in effective field goal percentage. That's over 120 spots higher than Wagner. They win through their elite defense, which you can see on the screen. They're 55th. Wagner's 329th in offensive efficiency, so this is just an egregious mismatch here. This is going to be a slow game, though. That's the only thing that really works in Wagner's favor. The value of each point is important here. But, there's just mismatches across the board. Wagner's banged up. I don't really see any way that this comes within the 5.5. So we laid the 5.5 with Merrimack. We'll take the home team here. And to close this out, we have an Indiana-Wisconsin matchup. It's a side I like. I haven't bet yet. I'm actually interested in Indiana. Taking a little bit of money, but it's still largely parked at 11 points. It's just a tough road spot. This team has been terrible on the road, which is my hesitation. You head to the Kohl Center in Madison. Not an easy matchup, but you look at the way these teams are built. There were a ton of expectations for Indiana heading into the year. Obviously, they have that elite front court, which is oftentimes played down to competition. But Wisconsin wins through their front court, too. Chucky Hepburn at the point guard has been one of the least efficient players at the position in the country. They win through Stephen Krull and Tyler Wall, who both generate a ton of fouls, especially Wall. He's averaging 5.7 fouls drawn per 40 minutes. Krull's a little bit worse at 3.9. But the reason I still think Indiana's live here is they have so many bodies inside. You have depth on the interior. A lot of teams that play Wisconsin and get into foul trouble early can't win through their bigs, especially if they're gone from the lineup. But Kalel Ware's 7 feet tall. He only averages 2.6 fouls per 40 minutes, and he draws a ton himself. Mackenzie Mbako has been playing more minutes at 6'8", 4 fouls per 40 minutes. That's not bad, not good. And then Malik Renault, he's 6'9". He only averages 3.5 fouls per 40 minutes. And all of these guys are in the top 500 fouls drawn. So if people are going to make this argument, Wisconsin, great at drawing fouls and playing through their interior, I think there's some meat left on the bone for Indiana. Again, they're playing away from home, and their guard play has just been, it's a roller coaster. You got Gabe Cupp starting over Xavier Johnson, who's getting injected from games, benched. Rumors that he might leave the team. I don't know what's going on there. But again, I'm not really scared of Wisconsin's guards, especially when you're telling me Chucky Hepburn has to score. And then I like the front court for Indiana. So I'm interested in this side. Haven't bet it yet. And we'll largely look at this throughout the day. Check OddsShopper if you can find like a 12 or something. I think that's worth looking at too. And while we're on the topic, OddsShopper, we have a deal for our premium. It's $14.95 per week, $49.95 per month. Extremely reasonably priced. The biggest thing here is we've just restructured. So you get all the tools on OddsShopper, our Discord, which is where you can find these picks ahead of time. And everything on the site that's customizable. It identifies plus EV spots. The Discord gives you a ton of insight. All that's available just with the link in the video description below. There's something for everybody, so check that out. Of course, leave comments. Feedback key right now. But otherwise, good luck, everybody. We'll catch you again maybe tomorrow. Saturdays are tough with the early start time, but at the very least, Monday. Have a good one and good luck.